Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and this is my Mary Quant inspired square. This is my flower, and I've been perfecting this over the last week to get the effect that I wanted, but it's basically going to be a makeup bag. Now I've started to sell these in my shop, and I've got color coordinated ones, so you can just do the same square if you want to, just two wide, and then on the other side and sew them together. It won't fit absolutely exactly, and obviously it will be sewn on and it will be more accurate once I do. But I've got to make the other two. Now you can do it all this one or all like this one. You can choose bright colors. You can do anything you want with it really. But I'm going to show you how I did it. And for this I'm using Aran weight, although a thick DK or it's kind of, it will work. I wanted it to be sturdy because it's going to be the makeup bag. So that is why I've chosen an Aran weight and a 4mm crochet hook for this one. So we'll start off with a magic ring, which I do very easy. I just make a loop and I put my hook in, bring the yarn through that loop and make one chain, and I've done my magic ring. None of this winding your yarn around your hand, just simple and done. So in this ring I want a total of 10 UK trebles, which are 10 US double crochets. So if you hear me refer to a treble in this, it's going to be a UK treble, so a US double crochet. As we go on, we will be using other stitches, so it might get a tad confusing. So I will kind of mention them when we do them. So to start off, I don't use turning chain. I use the stack. So I'm just going to put my hook into the ring and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both of them. Okay, now we're concentrating on this one vertical loop there. I'm going to pop my hook back in and I'm going to yarn over and pull up my loop. So I've got two on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those. And now I'm up to the height of a UK treble crochet or US double. So I'm going to do 9 in this ring, working over the tail as I go. Nice and simple. Just yarning over into the ring, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So nice and simple. So along with my beginning stack, that is 4. So I'm going to pause the video and I will come back to you when I have finished my 10th stitch. So this is my first, and so altogether I have 4 now. I'm just going to pause it then and come back to you when they're done. Okay, I have my 10 and I wanted to pause it because it gets a bit confusing if I count at the same time as you guys. So at the top of my stack you'll see the 2 loops, like any other stitch, the 2 loops. So just pop your hook in and slip stitch to join. Now we have a little ring. Going to pull that tight. It may work its way loose again, but we'll secure that at the end. So we're done with this colour. I'm going to do a chain, pull it down and cut a nice tail, although I work over them, and pull that through. So I have my 10 stitches all nice and neat. I'm just going to switch to the red now. So I'm going to pause the video while I take my white away and get the red set up. Okay, so normally speaking, I don't join at the same space, but I'm going to on this occasion because as I work over this tail, it virtually goes around the whole thing in any case, so it makes no difference. So I'm just going to join it, and in each of these stitches around, I'm going to, and as I said, I'm going to work over my tails, not the center one though, because we have to secure that, the one for the center ring. We have to secure that and work it in at the end. So in each one, I'm going to do 2 UK half trebles. So they're half double crochets. in the US. So once I've done my first one, I give this yarn a little tug and you can't see my join. So 1 and 2, and in the next stitch, it's nice and snug. I'm working over these tails. 1 and 2. And again in the next one. So I'm increasing in every single stitch. We're doing all the stitches in this particular flower. So I'm going to pause the video then, and I will catch up with you once I've got my 20, because I started off with 10. Just be careful when you get back here. Sometimes it will look like, hang on, I've got to pull that a little tighter. That didn't come through enough. It will look like you need another stitch in that join area. Sometimes if it's quite a distance, I'll put one in there and one in there. When I come back to the start, I'll see how it looks and I'll show you what I mean. But we need a 20 stitches, an increase in every one until we get back to the start. Okay, so I'm back at the start now, and as I've said, sometimes when you join, you get this little bit that looks as if it is a stitch. So if you put 2 in there and join, then quite often, ignore the tails, when you join it up, so let's just do a slip stitch to join. That doesn't look right, does it? So what I sometimes do is I do 1 in that one. You can't really see it as such when you've gone all the way around. And now I do my slip stitch to join. It looks a lot neater. It doesn't look brilliant, but it looks a lot neater. It's virtually the same. So now I'm going to slip stitch into my next stitch. And in this stitch, I'm going to do firstly the stack to get me up to the height of a UK treble crochet. So that's the same as before. And in the same stitch, I'm going to make a UK treble, which we've just done. Okay. Now in the next stitch, bear with me a second. Sorry about that. I had the postman knock at the door. So in the next stitch, we're going to do 3 double trebles. So in the US, you call those treble crochets. So we yarn over twice, go into the stitch and pull up a loop. We have 4 on our hook. We yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We're going to do that twice more in the same space. So we're just creating that lovely full petal. And in the next stitch, we're going to put 2 UK treble crochets. And in the next stitch, we're going to slip stitch, which does seem a little drastic, doesn't it? So now we've slip stitched into this stitch, but we're going to go into the next one and just pull up a loop. So we have 2 on our hook, yarn over, pull through both of them. And in this vertical hook loop there, we're going to go in, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 of them. So now we're in this stitch here. We're going to do a treble crochet, a UK treble. So that's like our 2 UK trebles there. Now we're going to do 3 UK double trebles. I know it's very confusing with the UK and the US terms. So if I just stick to the UK terms and let you know what they are, then it's not a mouthful each time. Okay, so we've done our 3 UK double trebles. Now we're going to do 2 treble crochets in the next stitch. UK treble crochets. In the next one, we're going to slip stitch. And then we're going to pop our hook again into the next and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both, go into this vertical loop here and complete our stack and do another UK treble in that same stitch that we have just worked in. Now we're going to do our three tall stitches. Let's just call them the tall stitches for now. And in the next stitch, our 2 UK treble crochets. That's our repeat. We're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and using the next stitch we're going to put our stack. So we've got 1 loop in the previous and 1 loop in the new stitch, and we're making our stack and our UK treble, yarn round twice, and we're going to do 3 in there. And 2 of our UK trebles in the next one. That's quite, once you get a few of these done, you get the repeat quite easy. Okay, so now we're on our last petal. Okay, so we're going to do our stack using both those stitches and our UK treble, our 3 UK double trebles, the tall stitch, our 2 trebles in the next one, and then right at the bottom there we will slip stitch into that stitch. And okay, so now we're going to just do a chain, pull it low, cut the yarn and end off. So we have our cute little flower all in our nice Mary Quant colours. So if you've worked over tails, you can snip them off or you can sew them in. It's up to you, but I worked over those two. So at the end of this, the only tails I'll have are the centre one and the one that ends it off. Right, so now we need to bring our white back in. So I've got my white on my other spool. And now we're going to join it at the top of our petal. So what we want are our 3 stitches here. I'm going to go for the centre of those. And we're going to join it how you normally do. I just do a chain and pull it down. And now I'm going to do a UK double crochet, which is a single in the US. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to tug this and the join disappears. So this is now going to be a repeat again. And I'll stick with you because it's tricky at the beginning. So we've done our UK double. And in this one, we're going to do a half treble, which is obviously a half double crochet in the US. So we pull up our 3 loops and we're going to yarn over and pull through all of them. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do a UK treble crochet. And in the next stitch, another. And then we're going to yarn round twice. And we're going to go into this stitch here at the bottom. I'm working over my tail as I go, getting rid of that. And we're going to do our UK double treble. And then our next stitch is here. Not there, it's here. And we're going to do our treble crochets. We're now mirroring what we've just done. So we're going to do 1 and 2 UK trebles because we did 2 before. And now we're going to do a half treble. And now in that top stitch, we're going to do our UK double or US single. So that is now our repeat. And what we're doing, we're making a circle. So now we're kind of bringing this into a circle to then make it into a square. It will kind of look more obvious on this round once we've finished. So now we're just going to mirror that again. So we've got, as you work back, we're going to work forwards. So we've done our double, which is a single. So we're going to do our half treble, going to drop that tail now. And in the next stitch, I'm going to do a UK treble crochet. And in the next stitch, now this is a little bit trickier because it's our join, but we're still going to do our double treble and get it into there. Might be tighter. It's not too bad actually, but that's where we ended off. And in our next stitch, which is not this one here, this is the top of it, we're going to do a UK treble crochet. I'm going to work over the red tail now. And in the next one is another UK treble crochet. And then we're going to do a half treble crochet into the next one. And then we're back to our UK double, which is the single. And as you can see now, we're making a circle. We're just going to mirror that again. And I'll stick with you on this one. So we're going to half treble, then 2 trebles. We're just getting a little longer as we go. A double treble into that bottom stitch where we did the slip stitch. And remember, that's not a stitch, it's there. 1 and 2, our half treble. It looks like a stitch, but it's, oh, did I go in the wrong one? I think I possibly did. It was a stitch. See, we all make mistakes. It's because that's not the stitch. This one here, that's not the stitch. That's the bottom of the stitch. So, back in. 1. You can always tell when you get to the top if you're not at the top. And you haven't, you need the top stitch to be your UK double US single. And if it's not, then you've missed that stitch, which is what I did. So it's a good job that I did it. So you could see that it's easy to do. So we're going down here now. We've got 1 and 2. Our bottom of our, where our slip stitch was. So it's not that little bit, it's this is the top of the stitch. And then the half treble. So it might be a good idea to just write the sequence down so you know. But once you've done a few, you just remember them. And just mirror in each side. Okay, so we're doing our last one. And then our 2 treble crochets. Oh, I've got a bit of the red there. Kind of split on me. Okay, and now we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch, which is not going to let me get in easy. Not on camera anyway. Doesn't look tight, does it? Must just be the camera in the middle. Okay, so now if I pull that up, we can see we've made a circle out of our flower. And now we're going to make that flower with 5 petals into a square, which was the challenge. You know, make a good hexagon, but we've got to turn that into a square. So how we do that then? In the stitch we are in, we are now going to make a stack to the height of our double treble. So we're going to go in and pull up our loop, go through 2. In this vertical one here, go through the 2. And then we're going to do it again. So we're up to the height of 3 chains. You can see the chains at the end there. Now I'm going to yarn around 3 times. I know. We're going to go back in, pull up our loop, and go through 2. We'll go through 2. We'll go through 2 and 2 again. And now we're going to just do a double treble in there. We're getting it in the same space. That's the trick. I just want that middle one to be taller. Okay, so in our next stitch, we're going to do 2 UK treble crochets. And again, you'll see there is a repeat. And then we're going to do 1 single UK treble on its own. Okay, now we're going to do a half treble and 3 UK doubles, which are US singles. And now we mirror that. The half treble is next. And then we've got 1 treble on its own. Then we have 2 together. And now we're going to do a full corner, which is our double treble. Double treble. Now we're going to yarn around 3 times, go back in the same space, go through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2. And we're going to do a double treble in the same space. And in the next stitch, because we're going away from our corner, we're going to put 2 trebles because the stitch before our corner was 2. And then we're going to put the single one on its own. And then the half treble. And you've guessed it, 3 UK double crochets. If you get confused between the stitches at any point, then just make a little jot down that a double crochet is single crochet, that a treble crochet is a double crochet. And then you will kind of hopefully not get confused. So now we've done our 3, we're going to mirror this again. So we're going to do in the next stitch, the half treble, the 1 treble in the next, the 2 trebles in the next, and then we're back at the corner, which is double treble, an extra double treble. I have no idea what that's called. A quadruple treble and another double treble. And now we're going away, so we're mirroring what we did. So it's 2 trebles, and then a single 1 on its own, back to the half treble, and the 3 UK doubles. So we'll stop and have a little look, because here we are turning it into a square, and that middle stitch is the one that is helping that. Still rounded a little bit, but that's fine. It doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to pause this video then, and I want you to just mirror what we did there. So the next one is a half treble, a treble, 2 in there, then the corner, which are all the double trebles, and then we're going to do the 2 trebles, the 1 treble, the half treble, back to the 3 UK doubles, and then before we get to our corner, we'll be mimicking this part here now. So when we get closer, it'll be the 1 treble, the 2 trebles, and slip stitch. Okay, so I'm going to pause it then, and I will catch up with you once I get back to these stitches here. Okay, so I've made it around. All that's left is my 2 treble crochets in that one before the corner, and then I need to slip stitch into the top of my very first, which is the stack, to the height of the double treble. So now you can, if you want, go around in this colour. I just did a whole round of UK double crochets, and that is how I ended off, just a round of that. But I chose the contrasting colour. So as I'm going to make that project, we will do that again. Okay, so normally speaking, I would finish at a corner, but for this particular project, I didn't do that. So I'm going to take that one away and switch to my red. If I can get that one back in there. Okay, so I'm just going to join at another corner. So you look for your 3 and you can see your big tallest one in the middle there. I'm just going to join, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with half a corner this particular round. So I'm going to do 2 stitches in there, so 2 in that same space of the UK double crochets. So now I'm going to take my tail and give it a tug, and my end disappears, so you can't see it. I'm just going to do 1 in every stitch until I get to the next corner. Nice and easy all the way around. So you can use any yarn that you want to use, and you can use any hook to get the effect that you want. I just wanted it to be fairly sturdy. I was in 2 minds whether to make a market bag of them, or I kind of decided that as I was using red, because you can use any colour, you can use the 2-tone black and white, which was the sort of signature of the era and Mary Quant, or she also used lots and lots of bright colours. So now we're at the corner. I'm going to put 3 in there. I drop the tail, and I'm just going to put 1 in each one along the side. When I get to that end, I will work over the corner, over the tail, I mean. So what I'm going to do then is just 1 in every stitch, 3 in the very middle. The tallest one, you can see it, it's bigger and fatter. You can actually see quite easy where it is. I'm going to go and do 3 in the corners, 1 in each of the sides, and I'll catch up with you once I get back to this point here. Okay, so I'm almost back. I've got my last one, and now I'm back at the corner. I'm going to complete that. I did 2 at the beginning, if you remember. And so I did my extra one, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the middle and cinch that down. I'm going to leave a very long tail because I want that to sew it together. Okay, so let's just take a look. Now we've finished. All we need to do is pull it a little bit into a square, because it's just where I've used thicker yarn. But there we go. One Mary Quant inspired square. So you can do what you want with these. You can make them out of any kind of material that you want. You can use cotton, you can use acrylic. But I decided to use acrylic for this because I have a cotton liner, and they are sturdy, and it's a colour coordinated zip with the red. So that's why I decided to do that. And you know, I was in 2 minds whether to make all the same square or to alternate them. So I decided to do that because it looked like you know, when they used to do that and make it look like a negative. That's what I was trying to say. But so now I'm going to make another one, and then I'm going to join them together, and at the end I'm just going to sew them along this zip line. So yeah, if you just want to make the square, that's the end of the tutorial. But if you want to stick around and see the finished project, then by all means stay with me. But that's the square. I'm going to make obviously another one and put it in our bag for all our squares that we're saving up to do things with at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to sew my ends in. I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight, and just make sure all ends are gone. And what I do is I go back through the loop and pull it tight, and then just bury it in this middle group here, which nothing will get out of there once it's embedded. And just go round quite a bit, and then just snip that one off. That one was worked over, so I'm just going to snip it off because remember, it's going to be on the inside, so you're not going to see it. That one was worked over, so that's gone now. That's a little tuft that's left, so I'm going to get rid of that. That was worked over. Okay, so that one's all done, apart from that end one. Missed that one. And this was my long tail that I left. So I've worked this one in. All of the tails are gone. So how I did my join for us, clearing away all my tails and everything else out of the way, so we don't need any of that anymore. I'm just going to thread this up. Now you can use a complete new piece, it doesn't matter. And one of the reasons that I did mine in different colours was to show you that this is an invisible join, and it doesn't matter if you use the red or the white, the join will not be visible. So as you can see, this comes out of the dead centre of the corner, but it might not be perfect once it's sewn. If that's the case, I'll just go over that last bit just to make sure. So what I want to do, there's my middle stitch of my corner. I'm going to go in there and out the other side. So I'm going into the V's at the top. And I'm going to leave a baggy tail, like it just don't pull it tight. So this is coming out of this one here, as you can see. I'm going to go in there and out the other side. So I'm going into the V of that stitch. And I'm going to pull it about the same. Now it's coming out of this one. So I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go in there and out the other stitch through the V's. And I'm going to do the same again on this side. It's coming out of that one. It's a little hard to see on the darker yarn, but you can see that it's coming out if you look. Once you have it, it's easier to see on the white, obviously. In there and out the next one. So once you have a few, normally you have a tail to hold on, but you don't on this one. You just want to pull it tight. So I'm going to hold it there at the corners, and I'm just going to give this a tug, and that visibly joins our crochet. So it's coming out of this one here. I'm going to go back over to the other side and in that stitch and out that one. Back to this one, in and out. Oh, that went through a bit of the stitch. Don't matter, I don't think. And then again on the other side, we go into the one it's coming out of and out of the next. And we just go along a little way, keep going. And then when you've got a bit, you can now hold on to the part that's already closed and give that a tug. And as you can see, you can't see it. As long as you use one of the colours that has edged the work, they can be totally different colours and you will not see that join. On the rear, you do. So it's not completely without being able to see it. See, on this one, you can just see those little red parts. It's nothing, nothing too bad though, but it's a really good join. Now this was kind of converted from a knitting mattress stitch. And yeah, so it's one of my favourite joins when you're doing something that you don't want to see the join. It's perfect. Okay, I've done it lots of times on my channel before. Many of you have probably seen it. But every so often, just give it a tug and it will close up. Now, what I mean is, if you look at this, although it is pretty good in the corners, it does dip down. And you can't really get it so that it is completely and utterly flat. When you work into that, you can hide it to a certain extent, but there will always be some kind of V where your stitches join, your squares join. It's just because they're squares, unfortunately, that will happen, and it happens less with this particular join than others. So this is the only join that I will make with the mattress join, and it's because it is in between the front two squares. Now, had I done the same colours, I could have just done any join, it didn't matter, but I decided I wanted to mirror these colours so that it was the opposites. Opposites attract. So yeah, we just go all the way to the end doing this, join in like this, and what I will have then are two sides, and all I have to be careful of is the top. securing it to where the zip is. That's the one that I really need to take the most care. So I'm in the center. That one, we need to do one more. And this one into that one and out of that one. And that is a very good join, that one there. See what I mean? Sometimes it can be really, really particularly good. And other times you'll see it. And I'm going to go in and down there. So it kind of, that is perfect. That's going to be the top, guys, because it's going to be easier. Easier all round. So now I just need to do the same again with how I did the middle. Make a loop, go back through that loop, pull it tighter, and then I can bury this. And I'm going to be just burying it on the wrong side of the work. It's going to be between the pad, you know, the actual, they're called blanks. Okay, so it's not, I don't have to be absolutely 100% with it because you're never going to see it. Let's snip that off. And actually didn't turn it over and make sure I was doing the right thing. So I'm pretty glad I did. So now those ends that I've worked in are going to be between the square and this. So that's going to be my top because it was absolutely lovely and straight. Or was it that one? They're both pretty straight on this side, to be honest with you. They're pretty good. That one maybe. I just need to get some, I think, red. It's going to be awkward now, isn't it? Because maybe I'll do white on this side and red on that side, and I will just secure it with a very small running stitch along here. So you won't see, all you'll see is that. I'm not the best at stitching. So what I'll do now is I haven't done the ends on this one, but choose the best top. It's this one here. I will now have them back to back and I will join along here, along the bottom and along the top. So all I then have to do is slot that in and sew it in. And that is going to be all I'm going to do. I don't know if you need to watch me do that. It's watch me bodge my way through it, I mean. But that's all I'm going to do anyway. So I'm going to just sew these together. And as I've got red on red and white on white, that is an awful lot easier. So I just need to be a bit mindful of how I do this end so that I go around the zip and so it doesn't get impeded in any way. And all I'm going to do is catch this stitch with that and go all the way along the back one. Just catch the back one and go all the way along there, keeping it away from the zip so it doesn't get caught in it. And I'm just going to sew along. That's all I'm going to do. Nice and simple. But first of all, I'm going to sew these ends in and join my sides. Okay, so I had white yarn and I went all the way around the white part, and now I'm making my way around the red, and all I'm doing is catching the two loops of both stitches and just whip stitch. I always thought it was called over stitch, but probably more than one name like most things. So the actual thing in the center of all of this, if you're wondering where you can get these, I have them in my shop, hobbyrocks.co.uk, and I have different colours. So it depends what you're making and why you're making it, and whether you want a nice summery yellow one or a green one or red. There's black. There's all different colours of them, and I just call them blanks. You can use them as pencil cases or makeup bags, hook cases, anything you want. So now I'm at the top. So I've gone all the way around and looking good. So now I just need to get this in. And if it's not an absolutely perfect fit, it doesn't matter a great deal because my outer case is going to stretch and the cotton inner will keep it together. So what I need to do now is find this. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this with the yarn. I think I probably am. Now it's I nearly knocked my camera away then, so it's a good job I didn't. So I need to put that a bit more on the inside. So what I need to do now, and I'm just going to open the zip because that is possibly the best way forward. I'm going to go to the end, work my yarn back so that I'm in the center, and this will need to sew here. So I think I'm going to like do that with proper cotton, although I think I can get this in. I think it will look nicer. Shall we see? Should we just give it a try? I think it would look nicer, although it might look well, it might look like it's meant to be if it's in the yarn. So just come out, catch the yarn. It's working. It's working. I just got to make sure that I keep it away from the end of the zip. I don't want the zip getting compromised by my stitching. So I'm going to not going to just go in one stitch and out the other. I'm going to go in and out of both the stitch a couple of times, because obviously yarn is way fatter. But that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to attach it. And it's working very well. I don't want to get it too close to the zip. So there we are. That's what I'm going to do all the way around. When I get all the way around, I will tidy this up. When I get to the white part, I'll switch to white yarn and work with the white. But it fits right into the corner here. And that's all I'm going to do. Just go all the way around. So if you wonder where you can get hold of these, I'll put a link in the description box to all of the materials that I've used. I sell everything in my shop, Hobby Rocks, and I'll put a link in the bottom to the shop. There's a voucher code as well that's current, and also all of the items that I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to pause this then, and I'll come back to you once I have gone all the way around. You've got to make sure you're attaching this to the bottom where that zip joins. I've got some of these that are pure white and they have black zips. I also have some that are tote bags and all different kinds. So they're not just ones that look like pencil cases or makeup bags. I have all different sorts of these. I call them blanks because they are blank. So maybe it'll be easier to get to the bottom of my yarn if I go, bottom of my case zip, if I do that. It'll take a little longer, but you know, I'm kind of a little anxious. I don't want to get that stuck in the zip. You know what it's like when you get things stuck in your zips of clothing and stuff. So yeah, we need to make sure that once we get to the end, we don't have like lots of extra. So I might get to a certain point and then start working my way back. And this also, once I sew it, it will pull up like that. It will go up. So yeah, I do have, so these are kind of, I don't know what you call this, cream natural colours, but I do have some that are white. So that's what it's going to look like on the inside. I'm really liking it. So yeah, I'm going to pause it then, because this is going to be extremely boring watching this go all the way around, because I'm going to do it very slowly to make sure that I'm going and not getting that too too close, and I'm going to just go one at a time, and then once I've got it through there, I'm going to go to the bottom of the zip. So I've actually gone a bit too far. I think I felt it pull out, so I'm going to go back along there. I'm going to make sure it's secured, so I think I've got to go back here a bit. We won't see that on the inside anyway, so just make sure it's in. But you won't see the stitching either because it's red. On the white part you may, but who's going to go looking in there? There you are. So that's what I'm going to do all the way around, and when I get to the white I'll be pulling this up as well, and it will be completely straight. Yeah, so I'll see you once I get round. Okay, so I wanted to show you what I mean. I'm kind of still going along this part with the red, and then I've started going along this part with the white, and you can see it on there. You can be neater if you really if you can you can figure that out. I just decided it wasn't ever going to be seen, so it didn't really make much difference. So what I'm doing, I'm just picking this up, and it's pulling the stitches up nicely. So if it helps just to go through there first, and then just catch there, and then we can go the last one in there, and then actually I will do just another one. I can get it to come out where I want it to. Got to be careful because that's red there. Just wanted to make sure that I'm getting, well, I can just go in there. I'm getting enough of this white. Go back through there. And I can end off with the white at that point and just carry along, carry on going along in my tails with the red until I meet up. And it will be nice and straight. That's what I wanted to show you. Anyway, I'm going to carry on. And then what I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, just attach it exactly the same. And I was really careful where I started to go around the zip, and I will at this end be really careful to go around the zip. And yeah, I shall meet up with you once I've got through all my sewing. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around. I've taken care to pull this kind of up both sides when I get to that point there. And what I've done is I've buried my tails underneath this flap here inside. So it's ever so convenient just to bury a tail in. So I kind of did my little stitch where I do a loop, and then I go back through the loop and pull that, and then I just kind of bury it inside the zip where I've joined it. So if I just bring it up here, then I can bring it along a little way and just hide it in amongst that. Now that will sort of lay down. I'll just go along a little way with this one and bury it inside. You can cut that off, and there we are. It's all completed. My little Mary Quant inspired makeup bag. So this bit is visible, but what I could do if I wanted to is go over that part with kind of a red felt pen, and then you wouldn't see that side. But and you could, if you wanted to do that with kind of normal sewing cotton, it would be less bulky and easier to hide. But as I had it in my hands, I wanted to just get it and do it and show you without having to go find more stuff. So there we are, all completed. That's my granny square this week, which is the Mary Quant inspired retro flower. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description box to all of the materials that I've used. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye for now.